About 8 or 9 months ago, I moved from California to Australia to help start a church. One of many differences between the two countries is the education system. The education system here is just so much better than the education system in my Californian school. When I was in 5th grade, I was doing great in school. Did my work on time, wrote down notes, and I was overall doing great in all my classes. It stayed relatively the same when I moved to middle school, but quickly de-escalated once I switched to online learning. I absolutely hate it. The teacher would go onto Zoom, talk to you, make you do work, then off to your next class. That combined with the fact that you had to do everything online made school very difficult. You had to do work on a PDF file, you had to submit your work online. It was not easy to keep up with at all. Not to mention that you are at home in your room with all your electronics and toys. You were easily distracted, and I quickly found myself almost failing due to unsubmitted assignments and not knowing how to do the work, etc. My middle school years went like this. I'd go to a new school halfway through the year, go to class, don't know what the work was because I was behind. The teacher would put a computer in your face and tell you to do this thing. I'd play games instead. I got even more behind, and it was this vicious cycle. The teachers would barely even teach us. They just put computers in your face, tell you what to do, and they made you submit everything online, which was very difficult to stay on top of. And not to mention that, all this just, lowered your attention span to that of a fly. Anyway, in year 9, this all changed when I found myself with a fresh start, which I could use to keep up with my learning. And I moved to Australia, and when I moved to Australia, I was relieved to see that there weren't hundreds, and I literally mean that, hundreds of kids on a laptop while the teacher did nothing. The teacher was actually in front of the class teaching these kids and gave them a worksheet for the last 15 minutes of class as opposed to the last hour of class. It was so much better, and my grades showed it. I was doing much better than before, and I was not behind on my learning for this year. Here are some words from my friend Daniela, who is in American school right now, regarding the American schools. I think the things they teach could be confusing, and they hand out a lot of work. And the teachers don't really explain things, they just give you the work and tell you to do it. Since the school I am at is more independent related, it helps you problem solve. I think it's good because on a computer you can search for anything, but at the same time it could be bad because on the internet could be false. Anything on the internet could be false. I wish things were more on paper and more would be explained. Other than that, the school system is okay. That's my thing, is it's easier if you just make people work on paper as opposed to make them do everything on a computer. And there's phones and things that are distracting and all that. Well, in NSW, it's illegal to have your phone in school, so you lock it up. But yeah, the work here in Australia is just like so much better as opposed to California. And not to get political, but if you've been on the internet anywhere in the last couple of years, you'll know that schools are trying to push this LGBTQ agenda on young kids. I have nothing against you if you're LGBT, but like, kids do not actually need to be learning that. They don't need to be learning what non-binary and gay and trans and this and that. They don't need to be knowing what any of that is. Yeah. And especially because children's minds are very malleable. And whatever you tell them, they take as truth. So like, if you tell them, oh, well, Spider-Man's real, or if you show them a movie of Spider-Man, they want to be Spider-Man. So, in the same way, if you teach kids about gender and sexuality and all that, they're very likely to become that, because their minds are malleable, and you can form their opinions easily. Yeah. Just kids don't need to be learning about that, and kids don't need to be seeing like drag shows and stuff like that. Which is, or being in pride parades and all that. That shit, gender and sexuality and all that, it should be taught by parents if they want to, when they want to. Yeah. And that's part of that's part of what I don't like about American education system. And drag shows and like all this other stuff. Yeah. But that wraps up this topic. And please comment your experiences in the comment section if you do have any. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more weekly uploads. And I will be making weekly uploads. I might do a podcast just for fun. But yeah, thanks guys.